Everybody. My name is Chris Sin, and I will be teaching you about two different fallacies in today's lesson. Fallacies in general are pretty hard to understand, so hopefully my lesson will make them easier to understand. I got assigned dirty trick number 17 and dirty trick 18, and I'll be going over 17 first. Number 17 is create a straw man. The definition is substituting a person's actual position or argument with a distorted, exaggerated, or misrepresented version of the position of the argument. My first example is you say you want to reform the criminal justice system. What? Do you want to free all the criminals? My second example has two people, so please bear along. Person 1 says, "What is your view on the Christian God?" Person 2 says, "I do not believe in any gods, including the Christian one." Person 1 says, "So you think that we're here by accident?" Person 2 replies with, "You got all that from me stating that I just don't believe in any gods?" Another example, the NRA, which is the National Rifle Association, supports the right to bear arms so they support private ownership of nuclear weapons. Now I'm going to move on to discussion questions. My first one is, what kind of discussion could be formed using the straw man fallacy? One possible response is, a discussion could possibly result from the use of the straw man fallacy. This debate would involve one person stating that something needed to be changed. Then a rebuttal would follow from the opposing side that made the primary argument sound completely ridiculous. Question 2. What life situation or situations would the straw man fallacy be helpful? Response. The straw man fallacy would be useful in a courtroom setting or during a trial of some sort in order to ruin a person's argument about a certain topic. Question 3. How would using the straw man fallacy be helpful in a debate or argument? Another response. Using this fallacy would be a successful tool in an argument because it helps shut down your opponent's view or their opinion of the whole situation. Question 4. Have you ever used the straw man fallacy in an argument in order to prove a point? If so, was it successful? Another possible response. This question would be useful to ask in order to get a person, perhaps a student even, thinking and applying this type of fallacy in their own lives or real life situations. Alright, so I'm going to focus in on my poster now. Create a straw man fallacy. This happens when an opponent's viewpoint is attacked with a hollow argument. Remember to relate this particular fallacy to the straw man character in the movie called The Wizard of Oz, which I have an example of a picture right here, and that's why I'm wearing the hat. It would be easier to defeat someone made of straw than a real life person. My classroom activity, it's right here. I'll read it aloud and zoom in on it later. I found a comic strip and I'll read it. Did you order the plastic casings I need? They take 2 weeks for delivery. The second part says, I see that you've cleverly avoided my actual question in favor of an imaginary one involving delivery times. The third part says, now I'm fantasizing about ripping off your mustache and using it to shine your head. I hear that a lot. In a small group, I would like you to discuss how the comic strip above uses the create a straw man fallacy. My in-class writing assignment, I would also like you guys to create a dialogue between two people in which the straw man fallacy is being used and be as creative as possible.
Continue.
Alright, my second fallacy is dirty trick number 18, which is deny or defend inconsistencies. The definition is when caught in a contradiction, manipulators often seek to cover their tracks rather than admit inconsistency. My first example is, I didn't really say that. Well, I did, but the world is changing and we must change with it. Another example, legally speaking, a defendant may plead inconsistent defenses, and cannot be compelled to elect, nor can evidence in favor of either be excluded at trial or ground of such inconsistencies. Another example. In criminal cases, attorneys prove inconsistencies in the statements of witnesses all the time. Once inconsistency has been proven, then the jury can then discount the witnesses' testimonies altogether. Now I'm going to move on to the discussion questions. My first one is, do you feel that the U.S. government uses the deny or defend inconsistencies fallacy in order to manipulate us into believing certain things are true? Why or why not? First possible response, yes, this is true. The government has been known to only release the information that they want us to know, and they also twist certain situations or topics in order to sway us in the direction that they favor the most. Second question, in criminal cases, do you think attorneys use the deny or defend inconsistencies fallacy during their cross-examinations with witnesses? If so, how? Another possible response, yes, it is in the best interest of the attorneys to discount a witness's testimony by using inconsistency. Third question. A student cuts class and tells the teacher that they were at the nurse's office. The teacher tells the student that the nurse was out for the day, but the student continues to state that he or she was at the nurse's office or begins to change the story. Is this an example of the deny or defend inconsistencies fallacy? Another possible response, yes, this is a great example of this fallacy. The student is trying to manipulate and lie to the teacher for personal gain. Fourth question, in what kind of situation would a person use this fallacy to better themselves? Another response, most of us have probably experienced this type of fallacy in a job-like situation. My fifth question, can you identify a time where you have used this fallacy with your own parents? And last response, as we grow older, we tend to contradict or choose not to listen to the advice that our parents give us. Alright, now we're moving on. Deny or defend inconsistencies fallacy come about when a person contradicts another's claim.
Hey, Chris, you know you shouldn't be drinking soda. You know how bad it is for your health.
Well, how can I believe anything that you say? You've been drinking 2 sodas a day for many years. Alright, now moving on to my classroom activity, which is up there. Specific groups will be given an example of the deny or defend inconsistencies fallacy. Then each group will be asked to create 2 additional fallacy samples in which they will then explain and present to the rest of the class. And my in-class writing assignment, explain a time in your life where you have felt the need to use this fallacy. Explain why you used the deny or defend inconsistencies in this situation, and were you successful in this particular situation.
Now what we have to do is upload